Skinny Brew coffee has been getting a lot of attention lately, and people have been asking me about it. So in this video, I want to show you the ingredients in Skinny Brew and the research on those ingredients. There is research, by the way, and try to boil it down to its essence to give you an idea of what I think might be its active ingredients and call attention to a few other things I noticed as I was reviewing Skinny Brew. So here we go. Let's just take a look at the ingredients and start from there. So if we look at the supplement facts label of Skinny Brew, we see that every packet of it, and this is a pretty convenient packet, you tear it open, throw it in a cup, add some water, so pretty easy to use. Each packet's giving you 6 grams of the following ingredients, quite a few ingredients here. But the first thing you notice is that it's got chromium picolinate, very popular form of chromium. It's giving you 1,000 micrograms of chromium picolinate, quite a lot. I think I know why 1,000 micrograms has been chosen. I'm going to show you the research on chromium in a moment. And then we have a whole bunch of other ingredients which are broken down into the what's called the Skinny Blend and the nootropic brain blend, which is, again, we'll talk about that at the end. That's supposed to, help you function better, help your brain think better, process, retain information, reduce anxiety and depression levels and stuff like that. But before we go any further, I do want to point something out to you. Coffee is the #1 ingredient, so it makes up most of this 5.2 grams. But the second ingredient you see here is chicory root inulin. Inulin is a prebiotic soluble fiber. Skinny Brew has inulin, a fiber. This is a fiber coffee, which I found interesting. They don't tell us the amount of fiber in Skinny Brew, but they do tell us it's got 2 grams of carbohydrate. I wonder if the inulin is where the carbohydrates are coming from. So, and again, inulin does appear to make up a good amount of this 5.2 grams since it's the second ingredient listed. I'm going to show you the ingredient or the research on inulin in a moment. So if we start with chromium, again, every packet of the Skinny Brew has got 1,000 micrograms of chromium. And why is chromium being used? Well, here's this interesting investigation from 2008, the effects of chromium picolinate on food intake and satiety. Satiety is how full we feel after eating. So essentially they give these 42 overweight people, 1,000 micrograms of chromium picolinate or placebo for 8 weeks. 1,000 micrograms is exactly what's in Skinny Brew. What do they find here? Well, people taking the 1,000 micrograms of chromium, they had significantly reduced food intake, significantly lower hunger levels, and also clinically significant less cravings for fatty foods. But did they lose weight? No, they didn't appear to lose weight. And I know that because the researchers said the people taking chromium picolinate tended to lose weight. Tended means no significant weight loss. And that's something I see sometimes in research. But we know it's not significant because when you're reading clinical studies, not to nerd out on you a little bit here, but I will just in case you ever read studies, generally when you're looking for clinically significant results, you want P levels less than 0.05. Less than 0.05 here, and here, but here it's 0.08. So you know that the loss in body weight was not significantly different than the placebo group. And that actually makes sense because it's in line with a lot of other studies that show chromium picolinate does not lead to significant weight loss. But the fact that it's causing less food intake, less hunger, and less fatty food cravings, that's quite interesting. And again, I point out Skinny Brew is using the same dosage of chromium that is used in this study. And the same thing with this study as well as here. You've got this investigation of chromium picolinate on binge eating, people who just can't control what they're eating. And these researchers wanted to see if chromium picolinate reduced binge eating. So it's a 6-month-long study. I like that. Not a lot of people in this study, but it's giving them either a placebo or 1,000 micrograms of chromium a day. Again, the same amount that's in Skinny Brew, or they give them a lesser dose, 600 micrograms a day. And they find that when they just look at the total numbers of people, yeah, there did appear to be more numbers of people who had less binge eating, but again, it was not significantly different than people taking a placebo. So from a clinical significance, it didn't seem to make a difference, but that may be because this study did not have a lot of people. Again, there was only like 23, 24 people in this study. So even though it lasted 6 months, it would be interesting to replicate this study with maybe 50 people to see if there was a reduction in binge eating disorder. But again, I do think these two studies do highlight why I think Skinny Brew has 1,000 micrograms of chromium. If you want to check this out for yourself, I will put a link to a quality-made chromium picolinate supplement in the description so you could check it out for yourself. And if you try it, let me know if it worked for you. So what about inulin? Remember, inulin is the second most abundant ingredient in the Skinny blend. It makes up a good amount of this, 5.2 grams you see here. Inulin is a prebiotic fiber. It can help our microbiome diversity improve. That's always a good thing. That may have other downstream effects. And inulin, because it's a fiber, has no calories, no usable calories, and it may play a role in weight loss. And there is some research on this. So let's look at the research on inulin and weight loss. So we've got this investigation, the effects of inulin on weight management and ectopic fat in people with prediabetes. Ectopic fat just means fat in weird, unexpected places, like in your muscle and your livers and stuff like that. You don't want to have a lot of fat in your muscle and your liver. So they basically, in this investigation, they had 44 people. They've got metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, and for 18 weeks, about 4 months, they give them either inulin or another fiber called cellulose, which we cannot digest, and they give them each of that for 4 months. And in case you're curious, they gave them 30 grams of inulin a day or 30 grams of cellulose a day. For us in America, 30 grams, that's about 1 ounce, Or if you're doing the tablespoon thing, it's about 2 tablespoons a day, again, each day for about 4 months. So what do they find here? So after the study is over, they find the inulin group lost significantly, there's that word again, significantly more body weight at the mid and the end of the study. It's about 4 pounds of weight loss in the inulin group versus about 1 pound in the cellulose group. Again, after 4 months, inulin group lost about 4 pounds. That's pretty good. And the other thing I'd point out to you, which again, you may not find relevant, but I do, they found less fat in the liver. That's really important because you don't want to have a lot of fat in your liver because that could lead to fatty liver disease. Very significant. Check back in my previous videos for supplements to lower fat in the liver. There are several out there, and it does appear that inulin is one of them. And they also noticed that, I'm guessing they took measurements of body fat in different parts of the body, and there was less fat in the calf muscle. The soleus is a calf muscle. So that's pretty neat as well. The other thing which I found was weird in this study was, call your attention down here to GLP-1. GLP-1 is glucagon-like peptide 1, and it is a compound that we make, and it plays a role in satiety as well as maybe even weight loss. What's weird about this study is the cellulose group had an increase in GLP-1, but the inulin group didn't. So that's weird because you think if the people lost more weight with inulin, that it might raise GLP-1 levels, but that didn't actually happen. So again, it's a weird finding. They didn't really explain why cellulose increased GLP-1, but inulin did not. Be interested to take this out and do a couple more studies and see what the effects might be in other populations. So again, just wanted to call your attention to it if you ever hear about GLP-1. Again, it was a sidebar in terms of the study that I thought was quite interesting. Now, another investigation I'd bring to your attention is this one from 2017. Basically, inulin fiber supplementation curbs appetite sensations. It's a randomized placebo-controlled study, best kind of study. Here, we've got 40 college-age females. They're given 16 grams of inulin a day. They mix it in about 12 ounces of water. For us in America, 16 grams, I should say, that's about a half an ounce or maybe about 1 tablespoon of inulin a day, and or a placebo. And it's only a 1 week study. So that's it, 7 days. And on the 8th day, they basically give them questionnaires and ask them how they felt to gauge their food intake and stuff like that. And they find that those women who were taking the inulin, they report less cravings for food, less desire to eat. They feel more full, and they appear to have reported to have eaten about 20% fewer calories at lunch compared to those who just took a placebo. So that's quite interesting. You'd think that in theory that if they were eating 20% fewer calories at lunch, maybe that might lead to some weight loss. But again, remember, this is only a 1-week study. You're not going to see any major weight loss in 1 week. So again, be interesting to take this out again, do the same thing with maybe take it out for like 3 or 4 months and see if maybe inulin might cause some weight loss. So, but again, improving feelings of fullness, satisfaction, less desire to eat, that's actually quite interesting. Another reason why I think Skinny Brew contains inulin to curb appetite as another means of perhaps maybe helping people lose weight over the course of several weeks and months. As for the other ingredients in Skinny Brew, here they are. There's 6 of them in what they call the Skinny Proprietary Blend. I've listed them in order of abundance as they occur on the label of the product. Again, coffee being number 1, it makes up most of the 5.2 grams of this blend. Inulin, we talked about that. It makes up a good amount of this as well. But as for green tea, green coffee bean, guarana, herbamate, to be honest with you, I don't see any overwhelming conclusive evidence that any of these other ingredients promote weight loss in human beings. I'll link to my full review of Skinny Brew in the description so you could check out the research on it, but I'm unimpressed so far with what I see. So could they all combined produce weight loss? It's possible, but Skinny Brew itself doesn't appear to have any clinical research on, again, Skinny Brew. Nobody's taken Skinny Brew into the lab to see if it causes weight loss. So I personally think if you are going to see weight loss, I think it might be, again, the inulin and maybe even that chromium. But one thing I would point out to you is the caffeine content in Skinny Brew is quite a lot. 220 milligrams of caffeine for every little skinny packet you might be using. And again, I broke it down as they do show you in the label. Green coffee contributes most of the caffeine, and coffee powder, again, coming in less than that, about 75. But 225 milligrams of caffeine, that tells you that maybe you might want to think twice before taking Skinny Brew close to bedtime. As for the nootropic ingredients, these are the things that are supposed to improve your brain function and stuff like that. So we've got what's called the nootropic brain blend, 50 milligrams, okay? And again, I've listed them in order of abundance. L-theanine, an amino acid, makes up most of this 50 milligrams blend here. L-theanine has a calming effect in the body. I sometimes see that in anxiety supplements. But to be honest with you, I think maybe the thrust of all this, all these ingredients, may be to reduce anxiety, reduce depression, and if you're less anxious, you're less depressed, maybe you might eat less, and maybe down the road that might lead to some weight loss, perhaps. Again, I've not seen any research on these 5 ingredients causing weight loss in people, but the one ingredient that I was most impressed with when I looked at research was the last one, rhodiola. I saw more antidepressant, anti-anxiety research on rhodiola than these others. Again, yeah, all 5 of them may combine to make a better effect, maybe, but again, we'd have to prove that in the lab, and I haven't seen anything on these 5 ingredients combined as of yet. If you want to try rhodiola, I will link to a quality rhodiola ingredient compound supplement in the description so you can check it out for yourself. And if you do try it again, let me know if it worked for you. But yeah, I think that's the thrust of the nootropic blend, to maybe calm you down, make you feel less anxious. In theory, that might lead to some weight loss. Again, maybe. But that's all I got for you. Hopefully this quick review helped you better understand Skinny Brew better and whether or not it's right for you. I personally think Skinny Brew is an inulin caffeine coffee with some chromium, and whether or not the other ingredients add anything to it, I'm just not sure yet. We'd have to do some research on Skinny Brew itself. If you have any questions, leave them below and I'll try to answer them myself. Until next time, I'm Joe Cannon. Go out, be safe, and where you can, try to make a difference.